Hi everyone, and welcome to Story Station with Words Alive, where every day we read stories together because we know that stories connect us. And when we connect with each other and the things we read, and we talk and think about the things we read, we become better, deeper thinkers who know how to connect things to our world. And that is a great skill to have today and every day. Every day on Story Station with Words Alive, we do two important things before we read the story. You have a little clue here as to what we're going to share today. I'm going to put my book down so that we can do those two important things. First, we're going to get our body ready, and then we'll sing a song about the parts of the book that help us remember what people like the author and illustrator do. Let's get our bodies ready first by making a letter C with our hands and bringing them to our ears. Now hook on your listening ears, silly me, listening ears with your hands and turn up the volume, whoop, so you can hear all the words to the story. Now let's put on our investigator eyes. I must really want to see those illustrations because I keep talking about looking and the things I see. Make a letter O. Excellent. Bring it to your beautiful peepers. Now hook in those looking eyes very, very well. Great. There are beautiful illustrations in our story today, and we don't want to miss anything about them. Now, let's turn on our responder voice. Yeah, because I want to hear the things you have to say about the story we're reading today. Now we're going to sing that song about the parts of the book. You can touch the book that you have in front of you. Maybe if you have one at home, go get it from the shelf and follow along with me. Or you can follow the one that I have right here as I touch the book while we sing. The song we're going to sing is to the tune of Farmer in the Dell, like this. La 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 la. Excellent. First, we'll sing about the author, the illustrator, where the spine is, and then we'll get ready to read. But the very first thing is a title right here on the front. The title's on the front, the title's on the front. Hi ho biblio, the title's on the front. Let's open it up and find some words. The author writes the words, the author writes the words. Hi ho biblio, the author writes the words. The illustrator draws, the illustrator draws. Hi ho biblio, the illustrator draws. And right here, this skinny little part, what is that thing called? It's just like the one in our back that holds us up and holds us together. It's made of bones. Yes, the spine. The spine binds the book. The spine binds the book. Hi ho biblio, the spine binds the book. And now it's time to read. Oh, now it's time to read. Hi ho biblio, oh, now it's time to read. Beautiful voice. Thank you for singing with me. Today our story is called A House for Hermit Crab by Carle. Today's story is read with permission from Simon Schuster, publisher. Thank you, Simon Schuster, for helping support families while we continue to learn and love reading at home together. Now, friends, you might know that Words Alive, we're here in San Diego, California, and we are so lucky to be so close to the beautiful Pacific Ocean. And there are lots of sea animals, ocean animals, in this book that we find here in San Diego. So cool. You can also visit a very famous aquarium, the San Diego Birch Aquarium, here in San Diego, by going to see some of the live cameras of what they are watching out in the ocean while they're discovering and researching things, and seeing some of the live exhibits at the San Diego Birch Aquarium. Something interesting I know about hermit crabs, and that you might know too, is most of the time when we think about hermit crabs or we think about crabs, we think they have a hard shell and they're protected by that hard shell. But a hermit crab is a little different. His body is tucked inside the shell of some other animal, sometimes a sea snail or some other kind of crustacean. And his little body that's curled up in here is curled up in there because it needs to be protected. And hermit crabs move in and out of the shells of other animals as they grow. It's kind of like how we get bigger shoes. When the shoes we're wearing start to get too small and our feet are growing, we size up to bigger shoes or bigger clothing. Hermit crabs do that with shells, and they have to find empty shells that other animals aren't using anymore. And when they do, they'll tuck out of this one, whoop, and scoot into the new shell and get nice and cozy and live in that shell until it gets too small. So that's what we're gonna watch this hermit crab do. Let's see what happens. A House for Hermit Crab by Carle. Oh, look! See his body? See how he pulled it out of the shell? That's exactly what we were talking about. Time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. He had felt safe and snug in his little shell, but now it was too snug, too small. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the ocean floor. But it was a frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. Oof! What if a big fish comes along and attacks me? He thought, or eats him. What if something wants to eat him? I must find a new house soon. Smart thinking, Hermit Crab, because there are definitely things in the ocean that would maybe think he looks tasty. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong, and he moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside to see how it felt. And it felt just right. But it looked so, well, plain, thought the Hermit Crab. Oh, friends, what do you see? He thought his shell was kind of plain, but look, it looks like maybe he found something to dress up his shell. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. Oh, how beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain, it needs you. I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone, and gently Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. Now, friends, with me, can you pretend to sway back and forth like a sea anemone? As the ocean water drifts past, they filter out the things that they can eat. Now pretend you're the Hermit Crab and reach over with your claw and clip a sea anemone and put it on your shell. Ooh, he's got a little flair. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the seafloor. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, signaled a little sea star, and carefully Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. How beautiful! I bet it was this little one. Let's pick him up with our claw very gently. Now set him on your house, your shell house. Ooh, I feel fancier already. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful? I would, creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, that means carefully and slowly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw, clip, and placed it on his shell. Oh, look! I just noticed that sea anemone is straight on top. It kind of looks like one of those little whirly flowers that blows in the wind. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris, and leaving a neat path behind them. "How tidy and hard-working you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house?" "I would," offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked up his claw and placed it on his shell. Now, friends, what do you think? I see these snails. Are these snail shells a good option for Hermit Crab to move into? No? Why not? What made you think that? These aren't big enough? That's a great idea, great point. Yes, and the snails are using them. Both good reasons Hermit Crab couldn't use that shell. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several... Let me show you what these guys are. Have you ever seen anything like that? They almost look like firecrackers in the sky because they're so like spiky. It looks like something just exploded. But these are called sea urchins. And in a lot of places on Earth, here in San Diego too, people sometimes eat sea urchins. Have you ever eaten one? I have not, so I wonder what they taste like. They had sharp, prickly needles. Ouch! "Oh, how fierce you look," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to protect my house?" "Oh, I would," answered a spiky sea urchin, and gratefully Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. He's really racking up the flair, isn't he? In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. "It's so dark here," thought Hermit Crab. "How dim it is," murmured the sea anemone. "How gloomy it is," whispered the starfish. "How murky it is," complained the coral. "I can't see," said the snail. "It's like nighttime," said the sea urchin. I wonder what kinds of adaptations animals might need to survive or live in a place that was dark and murky and maybe a little gloomy. Probably something that helped them provide their own light. And look, that's exactly who he found. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. "How bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to light up our house?" "I would," replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. So he probably couldn't be attached to the shell, but I guess he just stayed close by. Wow, there are so many things with them and on his shell. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. "How sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" "Not at all," answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw and built a small wall around his shell. "Now my house is perfect," cheered Hermit Crab. Let's pretend we're Hermit Crab. With our claw-shaped hands, reach over and get the rocks and place them just so, all the way around you. That protected another part of his body? Yeah. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a bit too small. Oh gosh, he spent all that time finding things to decorate his shell, and now he's growing out of it. Little by little, over the year, Hermit Crab had grown, and soon he would have to find another bigger shell. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. "They have been so good to me," thought Hermit Crab. "They're like family. How can I ever leave them?" But he's got to do what he's got to do. He has to get that bigger shell. Oh, what an interesting illustration. Friends, tell me what you notice about this page. What do you see happening? Tell me more. Yes, I see a smaller hermit crab approaching our hermit crab friend who's decorated his shell so beautifully. And look, here's his smaller shell. And the hermit crab scooped himself out. I bet he's hoping to get inside that one. In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. I've outgrown my shell, she said. Would you know of a place for me? I've outgrown my house too, answered Hermit Crab. I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends. I promise, said the little Hermit Crab. And the following January, Hermit Crab stepped out and the little crab moved in. Couldn't stay in that little shell forever, said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye to the shell he'd spent so much time decorating. The ocean floor looked wider than he'd remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house. A big, empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain though. But sponges, he thought, barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. The end. I love this story. Do you want to know why? I love this story because this hermit crab had something he knew he had to do. He needed a bigger shell. He had to move on. And he looked for the fun part. He looked for the positive, the fun thing about decorating a new home, finding a new place to move in and get settled. And look at all the new friends he made along the way. My favorite part about the story is at the end, where he talks about all the things he hadn't decorated his shell with ever. Like barnacles and clownfish and sand dollars, sponges and electric eels. Those would be new adventures for Hermit Crab. He has a great lesson for us to look for the exciting new adventures when the things around us change or we gotta move on. Thank you for reading this story with me today. Reading stories with you is our favorite thing to do here at Words Alive because we know they connect us. And when we're connected to our world, we find our best place in it. Thank you for sharing this story with us today. You can find this story and all the stories we're still allowed to share, depending on the publisher, on our Story Station website page of our website, wordsalive.org, and on our Words Alive SD YouTube channel. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.